So I want to talk to you about the flow of data within your company as it pertains to individual data sets that flow around your company, right? Disparate data sets. And in marketing, that can mean a ton of individual services, apps, platforms, you name it, that the marketing department and your executives are requesting data from so that they can make a decision. Okay, so just think of marketing in general. A web analytic tool, you got a tag management tool, you've got an email, right? Email automation, you've got social now, you've got sentiment, you've got CRM. It's a lot of individual data sources for your management teams to be able to make decisions from. And unless we can effectively share and disseminate the information that we're responsible for to the right people at the right time, it makes it really, really a tough job to effectively manage marketing, okay? Because more and more back, 10, 15 years ago, well, let's say about 15 years ago, I think marketers in the most part kind of got away with the old adage of, hey, give us some money and we'll do our best to see what we get back. Today is such a measurable world for a marketer that the demand for the accurate ROI is at its highest peak as it's ever been, okay? But let's talk about kind of how this all works. So this is your world, and I want you guys to all think about this in this next 20 minutes we have together. I want you to think about you and less about me. Focus on you, okay? This is your world, okay? And since we're here at the TLM conference, I'm going to assume that your world revolves around this service, an excellent service. It's an important service. It has meaning. It's what you live in. It's what you do, okay? And so when you go to work every day and you think about this service, you think about the data that it provides, the insights it provides, right? And you need to share those insights to the right people at the right time. So what do? If somebody asks you a question that lives in this world, how do you share that? You probably do what I did. You download it, you extract it, you put it into a spreadsheet, you build a little chart, you manipulate a little bit, you put it into an email, and you send it, correct? To the person who asked. Because they don't have access to this. And even if you give them access to this, they will not log in to see it. And you want to know how I know that? I know that because for 4 years, so my pedigree comes from the web analytics space. I started at Omniture back in 2004, was there for 3 years, and then I went and ran Major League Baseball, analytics for baseball for 4 seasons. We used Omniture Site Catalyst to measure nearly 276 websites. Guess how they got their information out of Site Catalyst? Do you think they logged in? Never. They would just send me an email. Hey, Dan, can you tell us about this, 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 this? And like an idiot, I would say, sure. And I'd go download and I extract it, I put it in a spreadsheet, and I'd build a chart, and I'd send it off. Little did I know I was shackling my entire career around the confines of rows and columns in a stupid spreadsheet. Telling you what, if you want to see your career path halt or your progression in your company halt, stay tied to spreadsheets. Because they're going to nobody wants to promote or move the person that is so integral, because we think we're helping ourselves out by saying, well, if I control the flow of information, I'm a valuable person, and you are. But it's not that you control the flow, it's your ideas that matter. But you think, well, if I'm the only person that knows how to do this calculation, and I'm the one that always sends the data out, then I'm valuable to the company. Don't confuse necessary or necessity with value, okay? Because in the grand scheme of things, whether you're running analytics for Major League Baseball, or whether you're responsible for DTM at your group, or whether you're working with marketing to share analytical insights up to the chain so they can actually show return, this is the reality. That is your world in the grand scheme of business. That is your world. Okay, there are thousands, hundreds of data points floating throughout your company that all have value to the company. And to an executive, they don't want to have to go to these little small nooks and crannies of the universe to find information. They're not going to log in to find information. They're going to ask you to do it, and you're going to provide it, and you're going to think, hey, I'm providing value, and you are for now. Okay? But then it becomes a real task. You know what I hated about my job the most at baseball? Was one spreadsheet. It was a dashboard that I created. I created my own cell, basically, where I imprisoned myself because I was the only one that could go in, log in, extract. I built all the formulas. I was the only one that could copy paste every single morning, attach it, and send it to the executives. I thought I was adding value, and I did the first time I did it. Every single time for every single day for the next 4 years, I was adding less and less value to my position and to my company. Okay, because I was tied to a spreadsheet process. I wasn't providing insights, I was just providing numbers. Okay? So this is the problem that we all face in this room. Okay? The Telium data or any of this data, these are all just a needle in a stack of needles. You've heard a needle in a haystack. I don't think it's that way. I think it's a needle in a stack of needles. Everybody's got data. Everybody's got data. That new little piece of software that your CMO is thinking about buying right now is just going to add another needle to that stack of needles. So how do you differentiate? And it's not about making your data more important than anybody else's, but it's about getting your data surfaced and in context with other data sets that are floating around to make it valuable. That's how you become valuable as an employee. Okay? And that's how your data set becomes valuable to those who make decisions. Does that make sense off the top of your head? Okay. So back in the day, right, this was me. All I did was provide spreadsheets. I had a lot more hair then. I'm totally kidding. That's not me at all. But I am envious of his hair. And I look at it and I think, you know what? Why did I get myself trapped there? What else could I have done differently? You know what the answer is? Nothing. I couldn't do anything differently because I was taking data out of Site Catalyst. I was taking data from ticketing, from shop, from sponsorship. All of those live in different systems, databases, and Omniture Site Catalyst had their own stuff. Everybody had their own stuff. Well, how do I get it? I had to go log in, extract, build a spreadsheet, build a bunch of pivot charts, pivot tables, charts, etc. That's all I really, really had available to me. I did the best with what I could. Okay? This is the way it used to be. Now, by raise of hands, how many of you guys are living in this world right now? Just raise your hand. Okay? The rest of you, what are you doing? Not working? No, I'm totally kidding. This is kind of what we have. And unfortunately, this is what's kind of expected. Has anybody tried to send data to somebody in like a cool new way? Even if that cool new way was take that awful spreadsheet and actually kind of like visualize it a little bit better and put it in PPTs and save it as PDFs and then send it out? Talk about a catastrophic meltdown. What in the world? Where'd my spreadsheets go? Because that's what they're used to. Okay? But we need to change it. And this is what we're doing. Okay? You need to expose yourself, and I mean that in a really good way. What I mean by this is that you all have data ownership of something that has value to the company, something that has value that really will move the needle, even if it's not the individual data point, but if it can be a supporting role. Everybody wants to be the star, okay? Everybody wants to be in the credit lines of the business world. Everyone wants their name in first line order. Right? We want to be the A-list celebrity when it comes to providing information up the chain. Not so much sideways, but up the chain is what we really care about. We want to be that title role. I'm telling you it's okay to be the Scottie Pippen to Michael Jordan. Okay? It's okay to be the Klay Thompson to Steph Curry. Because you still add a lot of value. And the only way you can do it is expose the work you're doing. Is anybody in here, and I'm going to ask for real honesty, okay? Just be honest with me. Is anybody in here kind of nervous about showing their work? Kind of? Okay? I know that feeling. You know why? Because you might think, well, geez, if I expose the data that I've been making decisions off of, or if I kind of put myself out there, will people who are smarter than me say, man, this guy's an idiot? Or will they say, wow, we've been doing this wrong forever? Anybody get nervous about that? That's the number one challenge we run into at Domo. When we go into our customers and we say, hey, we're going to give a whole collaborative element to your data sets. Data from all your different systems are going to be flowing around based on, obviously, user permissions. But we're going to let people talk about the data in line, in context, in real time. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of nervous hands that we see at the tables. because for years they've been hiding behind spreadsheets that they've been able to, you know those big nasty valleys you don't want to see in your data? They've been kind of able to smooth those out. The peaks, they've been rounding those a little bit. They've been doing it for years. Wait, you want me to go directly into SAP and pull this data out and show it to everybody? Whoa, 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 what about all my massaging process I have to do to this? Right? It's a different way to think. But it's not something you should be afraid of. But the number one challenge that we find once they get past the, okay, I think we should do this, the next challenge is, well, what's the best way to do this? How do we do this? Because right now it's just spreadsheets, PowerPoints, and PDFs, and it sucks. It's horrible, right? Well, don't underestimate the power of taking the data that you own and putting it in context, okay? I call that the power of placement. So think about your data sets that you own. Okay, in fact, I'm going to just pick on somebody. Is that okay? I'm going to pick on somebody. And pink shirt guy there, he knew I was going to call him. What's your name, bud? Jack. What data do you share on a weekly basis? A lot of Adobe Analytic data. Why don't they just log in and get it themselves? Some of them do, but the higher the chain, the less likely, right? Why do you think that is? Why won't they log in? So Bob Bowman was the CEO of MLB. I built him an awesome PowerPoint, an awesome dashboard inside of Adobe Site Catalog. Well, Omniture Site Catalog, it's Adobe Analytics back now, but I built him that login. You know how many times he logged in 4 years? 0. Why? Why do you think? Yeah, right? If you think about it, even to a CMO, Adobe Analytic data, I'm guessing you're taking, let's just talk web traffic, right? We'll take a sliver of what they do. Web. Isn't that like really important to a CMO? Web? Absolutely it is. But you know what? It's only a piece of the pie. It's only one slice. They need to see stuff from social. They need to see stuff from all their email campaigns. They need to see stuff from search, LinkedIn, all that stuff that they're spending money on. They need to see all of it. And if you can't find a way to put your data in a nice little spot next to the other stuff that they really care about, your stuff doesn't get looked at. And therefore, it becomes less important. Okay, we measure what matters. You guys ever heard that? We measure what matters. And if you're doing your job, you're measuring what matters to you, how do you make it matter up the chain? Put it in context with other things, okay? Put it side by side. Put web analytic data side by side with tag stuff, right? So if let's say that we get a notification, right, that a script ran and totally like blew away half of our tags. What do you think the corresponding metric in Adobe Analytics would be that would show that tag was missing? A dip in page views or a dip in visits, okay? So what normally happens right now is something bad happens or good, and you see in your monitoring system, you say, oh, hey, something bad or good has happened. I need to get on that. What happens is the management team only see a dip or a spike in traffic or an anomaly, and then it's freak out mode. What in the world just happened, right? Imagine being able to take your data and put it side by side to give context. Hey, why did we see a dip? Who usually gets that call? Webmaster or whoever's running analytics for the web. What in the is going on? Wouldn't it be nice if they could see a notification from tag management system that said, hey, just FYI, we had an issue here on a script? Answers the question without even a phone or an email being fired. That's the power of context, right? So I'm going to show you, has anybody here actually even ever heard of Domo before? Okay, about half, okay? Well, let me tell you why I'm up here today. So, Major League Baseball, I had a lot of different data points. I wish I could have shared them up the chain, not only in a visually pleasing way, but I didn't want to get stuck in that manual process that I was in, the spreadsheet world, right? The copy-paste world that I was in, that some of you, in fact, I guess most all of you were in, okay? I wanted to get out. And Domo was built specifically for that reason. Domo's capabilities is to connect to any data source. Any data source. I don't care if it's sitting in an on-prem database or if it's a cloud service or if it's a Google Doc. We will connect to it, absorb that information, and present it in one place. So the challenge of a marketer, a CMO, VP of marketing, of having to log into the web analytics tool, having to log into LinkedIn to see how much money they've spent, having to log into the Google Sheets that show them all the Google admin to show them their keyword spend, to have them log into their CRM to see how their leads are processing through the flow, to have them log into Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook to see how those campaigns are going. Domo eradicates all of that need. And this is what it looks like. I'm going to show you guys just real quick so you guys have some context, okay? So this is Domo, okay? All these squares that you see here, we call them cards, metrics, KPIs, reports, however you want to think about your data set. And we organize them in pages. So in this case, I have a marketing page that I have persona data, I have cost conversion data, I have social media data, executive insights, convert, close, spend allocation. I can organize the data the way I want to see it. Now everything you see here, this is all custom, something that we've built. But one thing that I want you to notice is look where I'm pulling this data from. Okay, I've got data coming from ExactTarget. I've got data coming from Adobe Analytics. I got data coming from Marketo. More from Marketo. This one, I've got data from Eloqua. I've got a fused data source of ExactTarget and Adobe Analytics together. The Domo's connected to both of those systems, brought them together and giving you a new visualization. This one's going to blow your mind. This one. This is the one that CMOs and finance people love. Cost to acquire and service $1 of revenue. So for every dollar we make, how much does it cost us to go get it and maintain it? That's the level of questions that's happening at the highest levels, right? Not how's that campaign doing, it's how much money does it cost us to keep that money, to make and keep it. Well, in order to get that information, let me show you the power of what we're talking about. Those are all the different sources that we're pulling from to give that insight. Adobe Analytics, Bing Ads, Dynamics, Eloqua, Facebook, Google Analytics, LinkedIn Ads, Pardot, Salesforce, SAP, Twitter, and YouTube. All in one place, all in that one visualization. Okay? The beauty of this is that you guys can take Telium data. For example, I think I even have it here. Telium did a really cool thing. Let's see if I have it. We'll just search for it here. Let's see if I have it. Hold on a minute. I don't have it in here. We're going to show you what we call a quick start. Quick starts are built by a lot of our customers and our partners that can go through, and let's do one that's we'll just go Adobe Analytics, okay? Where they can go in and they can create an app or a collection of cards that answer questions like this. So in Adobe Analytics, if you're an Adobe Analytics customer and you want to say, okay, here are the 5 cards you need to check every day. Okay, here's the 5 cards you want to check every day. Here are traffic trends. How's my traffic volume changing, right? Cards. Are we realizing value from our users? From what sources are we receiving traffic? Right? All of these different insights that we're providing. With your username and login to Adobe Analytics, all of these will populate in about 5 minutes. And it's the 80-20 rule. We're not going to answer every question you guys might have, but it's the 80-20 rule. And once we've connected to these will update as often as you want them to be updated. You want to update this every hour? Great. Every 10 minutes? Great. Telium data. We actually had Telium built a quick start, what we call an app. It was a collection of, I believe, 6 cards. This is our demo environment. It's in our live environment. If you go to Domo, it's in our live environment. And they've taken 6 metrics or a collection of metrics that they find valuable that literally with your username login, connect. It will connect directly to your source and pull that information in. And then you can immediately start to share this data to the right people at the right time, and it's always updated. You can actually set alerts and manage by exception. Hey, tell me if this changes X%, or if this number goes up or down. And don't send me another email, shoot me a text message, because when this thing buzzes, whatever reason, Pavlovian response, I always look at it. And it's always my daughter saying, Dad, can I have more cookies, or something like that, right? Nothing really that important, but I always look at it, okay? Because the power of what we're doing with Domo and what you're doing in your day-to-day job, Domo's not a software. I think that's our biggest disservice, is we say, oh, Domo's a software, it's a cloud-based, it's the business cloud, and those are all really cool things. But you know what it is? It's a game changer for your day-to-day. It changes the way you do your job every day. It gets you out of those spreadsheets. It gets you out of those manual reporting processes. And in fact, it actually makes you elevate your data to the right people and showcase what you're doing every day. And then we're putting in context so it doesn't get lost. It's not just a needle in a stack of needles anymore. It's bubbled up. It's useful information. And that's what we're doing. Okay?